We're talking about the Ejisuman Senior High School case that involves 7 students being deboardinized by the school. And according to the school, the reason why they were deboardinized included the fact that they used unauthorized gadgets in the school, this time a mobile phone, to dent the image of the school. Secondly, they said intentionally uploading a video on social media where unprintable words that border on sex were spewed out. 3, damaging the image of the school, which is recovering from the 2017 scandal in a video in school uniforms. And then there were a few other things they mentioned. They said this behavior by the students, management feels should not be allowed to perpetuate, hence this action. And so on the 6th of February 2020, these students, in agreement with their parents, were deboardinized from Ejisuman Senior High School. And this started a whole conversation on social media as to whether we're still using primitive methods to handle situations as important as these concerning the young ones in society. And really, who should be blamed for the canker in society, the decadence and all of that? Is it the parents? Is it the school authorities? Is it social media, celebrities? Should they be blamed? What exactly is the problem, and why do we have these issues recurring in society now? And so joining me, I have Mr. Kofi Asare from Africa Education Watch. He is the MD, I believe, Executive Director, pardon me. And also I have Awo Aidam Amenya. She's the Executive Director for Child Online Africa. Good morning, and thank you for joining me. First of all, I want to find out, when did you see this video, and what were your thoughts when you saw it? Would you start? I'll start with you.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you haven't seen the video still?
I saw it on, was it Saturday or Sunday?
Okay.
Over the weekend.
All right.
It wasn't too much of a surprise to me.
Why do you say that?
6 years ago, we started a campaign on things around that. Once we were having internet access and we promoting digitization, we anticipated that things like that will be happening.
Okay.
So we started calling for measures to ensure that children have right information, children have right attitude, children's skills are enhanced with other things, and there's that balance created between opportunities and threats.
Okay,
so it's been a conversation we've been holding. It's just that now reality is dawning on us, and everybody seems to be like, this is happening.
But having a mobile phone in secondary school really has been in existence for many years. I remember even when I was in secondary school, there were students who had mobile phones to hide it. Well, we didn't have social media as big as it is now, but we still had phones that had songs on it. We would listen to it. We could call our friends from other schools as well and chat with them. If you had a problem and you could call your parents, you'd go ahead and do so. And so mobile phones in secondary school is nothing new, is it, Alex?
Well, about mobile phones,
Well, Kofi, pardon me.
I was telling someone this morning that I don't think there's a ban on mobile phones in schools.
There isn't. Should there be?
You see, Ghanaians like playing ostrich too much. You go to a typical secondary school, and students are using their phones in the night. And we pretend that there's a ban on mobile phones. You understand?
That's because the teacher is not aware. There is a ban.
What's the ban? What's the ban? I don't want to use this example, but if you impose a ban and the practice remains, is there a ban? Effectively, de facto, there is no ban.
Okay.
Okay. So in law, you have ruled that it is banned, but in reality, the kids have phones.
Which is a problem then. But who's not doing their jobs? Is it the authorities, or are kids just being kids?
That's why I'm saying that there is no ban. There is no ban because the authorities who claim they have banned it have not put in place any mechanism to enforce the ban.
Okay. Before we even come back to this conversation about the use of phones in school and whether it's been banned and what we're doing wrong, where are we tackling this particular issue from concerning what the girl said and the fact that they had the guts to record it and post it while still in school? We're talking about having multiple sexual partners, making sure that you're making dollars, not coins, benefiting from men and all of that. Where do we start tackling this issue from?
I feel it's an issue we need to tackle from the roots.
Okay.
And the root of that is the structures at the school.
Not home?
It starts from the home, but the home is a different thing. This happened in school.
Okay.
So if we are tackling this one, we should tackle it from a source. Now, I may have my children at home in BBNM. Now, Free SHS has afforded my child to come to Accra High School.
Yeah.
And then I come across this nice mobile phone. And somebody says, oh, you could do a video, you can watch yourself and all of that.
Yeah.
I don't have any information on digital citizenship or literacy or anything. You think I wouldn't go in for that?
You would?
I would. So that is the
regardless
point.
of what your parents have taught you back home.
My parents are even ignorant about what happens. How many parents will hold their chest high now to say that they have orientated their children on safe and responsible use of digital space?
How many parents even know what's happening in the lives of their children?
That's the reality. So some of the parents even rely on the children to teach them what happens or how to navigate the space. So that is where we should be looking at.
Okay.
Because I don't want to say that parents have not raised their children well enough.
But that's
After all,
what
my upbringing was before the internet. So how would my parents now inform me to cope in a digital space?
But it's not just about the mobile phone, but it's also about the things that the students said and their thought processes at this point in their lives.
Don't you think that is what we see in the space, even in the media all over us? I mean, what they said is just a reflection of what goes on in the society that we live in now.
Okay.
We have young people, we have young adults they look up to. They come out and they spew all manner of madness. And we applaud them. We promote them. So what do we want to get? So there's that sanity that we need to restore back into the society before we start blaming these ones, because they are just miming or mimicking what they've seen around.
It's virtually a mirror image of what happened in society.
Okay.
What they were saying, the content, it's just a mirror image of what happens every day in the media.
That's what I was asking about, the influence
both
of
social
parents,
and the traditional media.
The influence of parents on their children and them wanting to know a bit more about what their children do on a day-to-day basis.
Sister, you know that the Ghanaian society is largely illiterate. So how do you want parents to play that role effectively without the necessary support, without the standard structures in place?
Okay.
You get it? Because even the parents should be informed about their roles well. But they don't know. They are at sea.
Who's supposed to inform the parents about their roles in the lives of a child?
Why do we have social protection ministry?
Okay.
Those are some of the things social protection should be doing. Because we are having internet in the system. What are the social protection structures in place? So if a parent wishes to learn how to navigate the space or inform the child, there should be maybe a center where the parents could go. If it's going to learn it in a local language, that should be done.
There are some very literate parents whose children have also found themselves in similar situations. And I won't mention names, but we're all here when a top government official's son, was involved in a sex tape.
Yeah.
That went out. And so if you're saying that social protection should teach some of these parents, what about the parents who actually know they're doing their best, but still there's a problem?
How can you prove that the parent knows? I know a woman who uses high-end device, but does not know how to do anything on it except receive calls and forward WhatsApp messages.
Okay.
What about that? So it's more like we are not committed to anything, and like Kofi is saying, it's a reflection of what happens in society. We are so careless. Even you come across some of the situations, people you see as models in society, just live anyhow, because nobody thinks about the implications of their actions on the next person or on the society. Okay. And that irresponsible parenting and lifestyle is what is being transmitted onto these young ones.
Okay.
So we would have to sit up as adults and know very well that when you are living a life, it's more like you are presenting to these young ones how they should also thrive. So then we reform our lives, and then they look on and then reform themselves.
Kofi, you want to come in on this as well? And
Yeah, well, I want to dwell mostly on the policy angle. But in respect of this particular issue, I just want to say that, you see, no one is born a criminal. Society makes them so. So whatever content you saw there in that video is a reflection of what society has taught them. They did not come to school from any planet.
I thought it's in the DNA of people sometimes
No,
to pass on their genes.
They were in junior high school before they got to senior high school. They have been within the education system for long, for the past 9 years, between class 1 and form 3.
Yeah.
And so what they've learned in school and also at home has culminated in the result that we're seeing in the video. And so we shouldn't be quick to judge them. Any judgmental approach to their reform will end nowhere, because if this is a reflection of what society cumulatively has produced, then it is likely that there are several hundreds or thousands who know all this, do all this, but they are not doing it on the camera. And so let's not be judgmental.
Okay.
We should aim to reform. Aim to reform. These are juveniles. Aim to reform. If you are judgmental, you don't end up reforming them. They become more truant, and then we lose their relevance to society.
Was the act on the part of Ejusman Senior High School that of a judgmental approach?
Of course. When you listen to the public commentary, people are ostracizing them, chastising them. People are treating them as if they are criminals, as if they have caused murder, or they have actually caused an abortion, or they have done something criminal.
Do they have to, commit an abortion before we see this issue as a very serious one?
No, I'm talking about. I'm saying criminal. People are addressing them as if they are criminals.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
And I'm saying that they are not criminals. They are juveniles who have found themselves on the wrong side of the rules, not the law, the rules in that school. Okay. You go to school to do two things: to learn to become a literate, numerate, acquire problem-solving skills, innovative thinking, critical thinking. That's one, classroom. And then two, to learn how to live your life in the future. If you were perfect, you wouldn't have gone to school. If you knew how to live your life, if you knew how to wake up in the morning, lay your bed in the morning, do this, if you knew that, you wouldn't have gone to boarding school.
Okay.
So you go to boarding school to be coached to grow up into a responsible adult.
And when you deviate?
When you deviate, there must be a reform. There must be a sanction regime that should aim to reform you.
And in this case, what should have been?
What should have been the case was that they should have been punished with the aim of reforming them and giving effective counseling sessions in school. The guidance and counseling session should have taken place before this action. They should have had a stationary guidance and counseling department in that school. It's a secondary school. They should have it, where students are engaged by the guidance officers regularly. Okay? Now, if it happens that people slip through the process, fine. But there is still that engagement. You find a punishment that will serve the purpose of deterring and reforming. Okay? In the school, there are various ways of punishing girls. Sometimes they can ask you to scrub the girls' bathroom for about a month.
Yeah, but if you do that, I mean, if I know that's all I'm going to do is just scrub the bathroom if I misbehave, I might as well just have my fun. Anyway.
If I know that I'm going to be a day student when I misbehave, I already want to be a day student.
Yeah, it's not, Bella, it's not
You understand?
again about just saying that scrub or anything. Because the sanction is thought through, the appropriateness of it comes to play. So if you know this girl is smart at scrubbing the washroom, what next does she detest? Okay. That is what you put forward for the child.
Now you're talking about guidance and counseling, and we are well aware of the fact that most of these teachers who are put into the guidance and counseling departments have other subjects they teach. And so first of all, their attention is divided because they have to focus on teaching you the, the curriculum and also teach you a bit about guidance and counseling as well. They won't have time to always focus on counseling the girls on what is right and what is wrong when they know they have other subjects to teach.
Exactly.
No, yeah, but then what we know on record is that the guidance and counseling officers are not supposed to be classroom teachers.
But in this case where we don't have enough teachers, why then are they doing both?
Can you prove that?
Well, in some cases, it's true.
I know for a fact
when I was in school, life skills. Yeah. So they'll put that same teacher in guidance and counseling.
I mean at present.
Yeah, I know at present. I did some research in the guidance and counseling unit. I mean, in the schools for comfort. I can say with authority that the schools that have full-time guidance and counseling officers or guidance officers are normally the mission schools.
Okay.
Even that, most of them do religious counseling because they are not trained guidance officers. Even that, most of them do. They use they are normally the chaplains. They use their experience in religion to train.
Meanwhile, we have so
they are
many
not trained guidance
psychology
officers.
Graduates.
And so the challenge of the guidance and counseling unit is that they don't have anywhere near enough guidance officers to provide guidance and counseling services, both in career guidance and also life coaching and all that in the schools. So their capacity is normally supplemented by the mission schools who have the resources to engage the clergy and the clergy to support. So that I know it's a challenge.
Besides, what's the guarantee even opening up Bella, to you when I don't trust you?
Yeah, but then Bella, so why do we want to say that, okay, it's not an issue of social protection?
Well, we do agree that it's an issue of social protection.
So for me, it's one of the gaps that we need to address. Let's not think for whoever is supposed to provide that system that, okay, because guidance and counseling teachers are the same teachers who are supposed to handle subjects and all of that, let's hold brief for them. The point is, what is the appropriate thing to do if we have a situation like this at hand, and if we're looking at the bigger picture, not just the 7 girls who are in the situation now. Exactly. So all the others who are joining or who have joined indirectly and all of that. So how do we see to reforming the system? I think that is a conversation we should be putting forward to the duty bearers as well as those who should be held accountable in this discussion.
And in addition to that, perfectly so. In addition to that, we should be taking a second look at the sanctions regime of the Ghana Education Service. Look, the sanctions regime of the GES, especially the secondary level, is as old as Nkrumah.
Okay.
It hasn't seen any radical reform since then. 2 years or so ago, Otibuati Secondary School, 13 students were deboardinized. What were their offenses? 3 of them skidded the school wall. 2 of them went to town without an exit. Listen, deboardinization, very soon, people will be deboardinized when they even cough. Listen, deboardinization shouldn't be a first resort. We know the easiest way as a teacher in charge of students, in charge of supervising students, managing them, the easiest way is to throw the bad nuts out so that you are free. But we don't want the easiest way.
But if you're proven to be
we want
stubborn,
the most efficient way. No. I said that if you were perfect, you wouldn't have been in school in the first place. So let's not forget about that. You are in school to learn, to be a good boy, both in class and outside the classroom. So if you were a good boy, you wouldn't have been to school in the first place. So stubbornness is part of the work of the teacher to mold you from being stubborn. We were all stubborn in school. When we left, we were not stubborn anymore. So there's always a process. The point I want to make is that deboardinization as a punishment has outlived its usefulness in our secondary schools. It rather exposes the students you aim to punish and reform into more freedom, truancy, and higher levels of delinquency. If I skip the wall and go to town, the meaning is that I already want to sneak and go to town. And then the punishment you met out to me is to deboardinize me.
So you would stay home and not
I won't stay in town. I won't stay with my parents at home.
Which has been the case for a lot of students, because those who are in, the other regions, when you're deboardinized, sometimes your parents might not even find out.
No. So you go and stay in town.
So then you stay in town.
So you have the freedom you wanted, right? So have you been punished? No, I don't think so. So I think that we need to, it's time for the stakeholders, the GES and the stakeholders, parents especially, to sit down and have a discussion on what constitutes adequate punishment that deters and at the same time reforms in today's world. Debodernization is prehistoric.
But you say guidance and counseling. And if you had your way to punish, that's what you said was scrubbing the bathroom for a month.
It was
just
citing an example. So
something,
what
yes.
because we haven't been able to state what exact punishment we can give out to students such as these.
No, you know, Bella, like I was saying earlier, what Kofi is talking about, he's looking at a positive discipline approach to tackling the issue.
Okay, but they say spare the rod.
A positive discipline does not mean you are sparing the rod.
Okay.
Yes.
So you agree that that is also a way of...
I think you want to put words into my
I'm not
mouth,
asking you a question.
As much as possible.
Should we spare the rod and spoil the child?
We are not going to spare the rod and spoil the child. I don't want you to get the religious leaders after me. But the point is, when you want to reform a child, you look at the whole human being, and then you prefer what works, what would actually affect him or her to reform. Yeah. So you don't get up and just do it. It's thought through.
So there should have been different ways of handling each girl.
For instance, my boys at home, one of them cannot do without the device.
Okay.
And they know that they have 2 hours or so on the device on weekends. So when you misbehave, and I put you on hold for the 2 hours, he will cry the whole period. And you see that the next time he's not going to repeat that kind of action. But that is not to say that that is the only way to deter him. There are other sanctions that I could prefer that would help. So appropriateness of it, the age and everything comes into play. So you are the teacher in the classroom, or you are the headmaster of the school. You've observed the child, you've interacted with the child, and you know what will work best.
Okay.
Mind you, yesterday I was listening to one of the platforms, and the PRO for GES was saying that when the 7 girls were called before the school, it was only 1 out of the 7 that showed remorse for their action. And then I asked, okay, if I don't know the implications of posting a video or having myself spread out there, why would I show remorse for it? But then if I know that it has reputational issues, it's then I'll be thinking, oh, okay, then I shouldn't have done it and all of that. So it's important for us to sometimes unpack the issue that the children find themselves in with them. Get them to dialogue with us, so then we understand how they are thinking. Okay. Sometimes their influences are so much that they take the other side as against balancing the situation. So those are things that we need to put in place.
Well, my time is up. We have to go. I hope that later this week as well we can continue discussing this particular topic, so we find ways of handling this issue. And we can delve much deeper into the use of mobile phones and social media and the effect it has on our youth especially. I've been speaking to Mr. Kofi Asare. He's the Executive Director for Africa Education Watch, and also Awo Aidam Amenya is the Executive Director for Child Online Africa. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.